Welcome to Strings to Your Bow, the podcast where we explore how personal experiences shape unique skills and drive business success. I'm your host, Chloe Weatherhead, and today I am thrilled to be joined by Cecilia Costello, a talented storytelling photographer with a mission to empower female entrepreneurs to be more visible in their business. With over 16 years of experience behind the lens, Cecilia combines her marketing expertise and creative passion to help women step into the spotlight, elevate their personal brands, and connect with their dream clients. From a shy teenager with a dream to a skilled brand photographer helping others to shine, Cecilia's journey is a true testament to turning passion into purpose. Let's dive in as Cecilia shares how her love for photography and storytelling has shaped her career and how she helps her clients capture their unique essence in every frame. Thanks for joining me today, Cecilia.
Thank you, Chloe, for having me.
So this is very exciting for me because we met about 6 months ago or something like that at a networking event, and I knew immediately that I wanted to work with you in the future because you were so involved and so interested in everyone in the room, and you took such time to demonstrate that interest and let those individuals shine. And I think that is a true superpower. And then we went on to work together, and you did the brand photography for Andiamo, which I get complimented about every single time I use one of your photos. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what brand photography is?
So thanks for that lovely introduction. And it was wonderful working with you as well, Chloe. So I'm a brand photographer and a visibility specialist. And what that means is I absolutely adore working with female founders, entrepreneurs, business women, whatever we want to call them, to help them understand their personal brand and delve into their business nitty gritty as well, so that it can help them shine, be more confident on camera, and produce a range of photographs that really do tell their brand story from start to finish. Brand photography is not just a headshot, because if it was just a headshot, then people wouldn't get to know you and really want to buy from you in the future. So it's all about creating a memorable story behind your brand. So yeah, so that you can use it in all your marketing and become more visible, get more clients.
Yeah. And I remember when we first started talking together, we had quite a lot of conversations about showing your authentic self and the disconnect between those of us that have worked in the corporate world that are always told that we have to promote the brand of the organisation, to turning self-employed and trying to work out for yourself how you want to be perceived by people. And I remember we had a lot of conversations about storytelling, about how you can use images to tell that story. So how do you encourage business owners to go down that route? Because for a lot of people, having their photograph taken is quite a nerve-wracking experience.
Yeah, it is. I would say 80% of clients that I work with are super nervous in front of the camera. And one of the process that I take my clients on, it's a journey of, it's a bit of self-discovery really, getting them to really hone into their brand values, what their business means to them, and also really delving into their clients as well, and who their client is and how they help them. So, taking you for example, one of the things that we talked about is, clients that are attracted to you are people who have hugely busy lives, that there's admin on the desk that they can't get through. And it was important to be able to give images that you could then use in your marketing to show how you would attract that client in the future. So I help them by understanding their personal brand, digging deeper into why they're in the business, who their ideal clients are, and then also helping them understand and discuss their client journey, so we can create a photo shoot that captures all the bits of the client journey. In terms of the confidence side, I think what I've learned is my business was built up on working with families in lifestyle photography. That's what I've done for 16 years. And every single person that I work with in families, and I've worked with tiny families, brand new babies to 23 people, and I'm on a massive multi-generational shoot. There's always somebody in that group who doesn't like being photographed. And I always say to them, it's like the connection. Like when you get married, you don't get a wedding photographer that you don't connect with, because then you get photos that are stilted. So in terms of, I've got a lot of experience in helping people feel really comfortable, and I do that, I think, by one, getting to understand them, like you said, listening to them and getting on their wavelength. And it's a genuine, sounds funny, but it is a genuine thing that I'm really interested in understanding the person behind the business. And I think when you get that connection and you understand the person more, I can create the images because that person's got that connection with me. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, yeah. And I remember from when we did the photo shoot, you start being quite anxious about the whole thing, especially on the day, and it does feel a bit weird being followed around by someone with a camera everywhere you go. And how people can become famous and think that that's a nice thing, I do not know, because it's a very strange experience. But after a while, because actually you are so good at keeping the conversation going and you're so interested in people and you pick up on what's working and what doesn't, you forget that the camera's shooting because you're busy chatting and having a conversation and just talking about things. And I think that's actually a foundational aspect of your approach, being able to put people at ease and showing that genuine interest and warmth. Probably, this is a sweeping generalization, but probably means that you get much more natural photographs that show people's true self than you would do if you were more formal in your approach and less interested in the individuals themselves.
Yes, I think that's exactly it. I'm storytelling photography, as you mentioned, like in the introduction, it has been such a passion of mine since being so young. And I think being able to connect with the layers of a story of somebody's life helps me know that client more, and therefore I can connect on many different layers, whether it's hobbies, personal life, things have gone through in their lives, and we can talk about that on the photo shoot, and it really does help me to get that connection for somebody to feel confident in front of the camera. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think what's your background? Because when we're talking, you've mentioned there that you started photography at quite a young age. I know that you've done marketing in the past. So what's your sort of, without going through your CV, what's your background and how do you think that helps you in your business now?
My background, in a shortened version, is I always wanted to be a photographer. Got a place at art. Got a place at art college at 17, and I was really shy as a teenager, and it just felt wrong to be going to do an art degree when all my friends were going to do like what I class as a proper degree, like geography or history or maths or English. So I was put off that feeling of going to university, going to college, because I didn't feel like it was good enough. So I thought I'll go and get a job. So I worked in a bank, and that's how I ended up working in the banking industry. And after a number of years, I ended up moving to Leeds, getting a job in banking marketing, which was an eye-opener, because I all of a sudden found an interesting side to a bank, because I like the creative element. I like getting the photographers on board and creating all the literature and managing a team. So I worked quite a lot in marketing, awful lot of marketing. But at the same time, I still had this burning desire to be a photographer. So when I did move over to Leeds, I launched onto a pathway of evening classes, learning photography on film. I did that for 15 years, Chloe. And I also learnt all the marketing exams, did for City and Guilds, and I ended up doing a master's in marketing. But I kind of always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a photographer, even though I was on this career path of being a marketeer. My last role in the bank was marketing manager for wealth management. So I had quite a nice sized team, and we were responsible for all the marketing of the company, the wealth management group. So eventually I took redundancy because the photography yada in the back of my head was so loud. I just had to make the leap. So I made the leap after my second child was born, set up a photography company. This is turning into a CV. But I think the passion that I started, obviously, I just wanted to take photographs and capturing timeless images for families that they made them cry. A lot of them were black and white, and telling their stories through emotive images that had a heart. Because I obviously knew how to take pictures, and you did not digital. It's all film work, so you only have a couple of shots and get it right in camera. I just knew that when I had, after about 10 years of doing that, I started to work with some businesses that were family clients as well, taking business photography before it even be called brand. And then I was like, I need to be challenged a little bit more here. I've got all this marketing knowledge, all this branding experience. And then I've jumped into the world of brand photography, which it helps those two worlds collide. So collide, not the right word, but it helps those two worlds come together. So the passion, the absolute passion of getting the right photographs, is now combined with my helping the customers with their marketing and the branding. So it's perfect, to be honest. And that's kind of a whistle-stop tour of how I got to where I've got.
And do you find your background in marketing helps now that you're working primarily with businesses and the brand of businesses themselves? Are you able to bring that experience into what you do now?
Yeah, absolutely. So having the understanding of creating a marketing plan for to communicate a business's desires. So when I was in the bank, I was the marketing communications manager. So I would take the product from my product team and build a communication plan to help promote that product in conjunction. So I kind of see my clients now as like that product team. They have this business, they have this passion that they so want to get out there. And yet they're a bit stuck because a lot of solopreneurs that I work with don't fully understand marketing. They don't fully understand their business. They know they have this business, they have this passion. Everybody's at different levels of experience, but the communication side, the brand strategy and the communication side that I did beforehand, I bolt on now to my clients and help them understand and work all the way that through. Don't get me wrong, Chloe, I'm not a brand consultant. And in fact, I do have a couple of clients that I've passed on to marketing strategists who that's all they do. And if I'm pulled into conversations where I am being asked things that, need more of an experience, a solid focus, then I will collaborate with other partners that I know, and which works brilliantly, actually. But the marketing side, I definitely help with my clients to move that forward.
Yeah. And do you find that people's hesitancy in allowing someone to take photos of them, there's sort of anxiety that comes from having photos taken and video taken, do you find that causes or creates a barrier to sale when you're talking, especially to female business owners? Do you think that is an issue in sort of your sales pipeline? How do you overcome that?
I think I have maybe 3 or 4 constant things. I need to just wait until I've lost a little bit of weight. I don't have the right clothes at the moment, but I know that I need this, but I need to go on a spending spree and maybe see a stylist. I've got the wrong hair length. I need to wait till it grows a little bit. I need to lose a bit of weight or get a suntan. So those are the things that I tend to get, and then I'll say to my client, so, okay, those things that you said, will that stop you going out with your friends tomorrow night? Will it stop you going networking or going on a holiday? The fact that you need to lose a pound or 2, it's not going to stop you meeting your friends for a drink of wine. So once we get talking about that, then you need, it's about showing up as your true, authentic self. And if you waited until you've lost that little bit of weight, or in my instance, you've not my roots weren't perfectly done when I had my photos done the other week. I had a mini brand shoot done, and I'm looking at the photos and like, oh my God, I've got roots. But you can't have your hair done every 4 weeks to have your roots done. So yeah, I do. There are barriers to having the photos taken, and there are a lot of confidence barriers, but we work through those.
Yeah.
When I explain to them that, the clients that are out there waiting to work with my clients, they need to see you, because if they don't see you, if you hide under a bush, nobody's going to know how to get your beautiful products or to use your fantastic services. So it's just encouraging baby steps. It is going to be okay to get in front of the camera, because you are going to look great, because we're going to take care to connect with each other. We're going to make sure you've got the right outfits, that your brand colors are in there, so once I explain that to them, they're quite happy to come on board. I was with a lady this morning, and she said, having a planning session for a shoot, and she said, oh, I know it's going to be May. I know it's May. I'm really excited, but I'm still so nervous. And I'm going to have to just put my big girl pants on and get on with it. And I said, well, as soon as we get there and we have a coffee and a tea, or something, and a bit of a pastry before we start, it's not going to be onerous. And don't worry, I've got you. I'm going to handhold you through the whole process, and we'll have a good time and a laugh.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we've had lots of conversations about authenticity in business and how you can demonstrate authenticity in business. So I suspect it's quite important for you, and it's one of the key things you talk about with your customers. I've heard you being a customer myself. What role do you think personal authenticity plays in business success?
When you have a small business, it's the head of that business, it's the entrepreneur behind that business that is making the connections with their ideal client, the people who are out there ready to work with them. And we know the saying, people buy from people. And it's so important. If you just walked into a shop with a bag over your head, for example, how the shop owner will be a bit, who's that walking in with a bag over her head? You wouldn't be able to engage with anybody else in the shop or have any other connections with the customers in there. If you were a business owner who owned a flower shop and you just never talked to anybody who came in and were really unpersonable, this is really extreme examples, but you would never sell any of your products or make any connections with any of your services. So being that the personal one-to-one human people buy from people connection is so important, and part of telling your story as a business brand is to connect with how you feel, what your feelings are, what your brand values are as an individual. I think when you're true to your brand values and you show up as that person all the time, because it's natural to do so, then you're going to start building human connections with people who start to like you, like when we first met in our networking group. And I think that's so important for small business owners who sometimes get bogged down with all the admin or the concerns about, oh, should I try and be like that coach that I've seen in a networking group? Should I change my beliefs or my way of communicating to my clients so that I sound a little bit more professional or more powerful? If we try and change because we're being swayed by other business owners that we've seen, then we're not being true to ourselves, and it'll feel like you're a square peg in a round hole. One thing I'll mention about that phrase is when I worked in the bank, initially before I found marketing in the bank, I used to say to myself, my God, I feel like a square peg in a round hole all the time. It was like I was trudging through treacle, because I used to work for the NatWest and I was on the counter and everything and processing checks in the back. And it just felt really wrong. And that analogy, I suppose, I can throw into the mix, because now as a business owner, I can hear people saying to me sometimes, I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt like that. I was like a square peg in a round hole. So I didn't know at 24, 25, 26 that that was what being unauthentic to yourself felt like. It just felt wrong. And I think as a business owner, if we try and be something we're not, then it won't be a fake, it won't be a natural connection with your clients. So for me, I'm just me, and I encourage my clients to be themselves, to find what their true values are, and to make sure that they project those true values in all their marketing, because then they'll start connecting with clients that are dying to buy their services or dying to sample their fabulous candles or products or baking products, cakes, whatever they're selling. So if you're not true to yourself, and I think that's the authenticity, if you're not true to yourself, I don't believe you can have a successful self-employed business. You've got to be showing up as your true authentic self through every touch point that you may have in the future with a potential client, and even a client. I mean, we all have bad days. Don't get me wrong. But if it comes from from your heart, I think, and a place of, this is me, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm passionate about, this is who I'm going to help, and be authentic to yourself, then you're going to connect more with people who are dying to work with you. I hope that answers the question.
It not only answered the question, Cecilia, it smashed the question, and I honestly can't think of a better place to start, so I'm going to launch into the conclusion. Thank you so much, Cecilia, for sharing your incredible journey with us today. It's been truly inspiring to hear how your passion for photography and storytelling has shaped your career, and how you're empowering women entrepreneurs to shine through authentic, impactful imagery. To our listeners, I hope Cecilia's story has sparked some inspiration on how embracing your passions and staying true to yourself can transform your business journey. Remember, it's so unique experiences that shape the skills and mindsets we need to succeed. We'd love to hear from you, so share your own stories of personal growth and business success with us on social media using the hashtag StringsToYourBow podcast. And who knows, your story might just inspire someone else to see their personal experiences in a new light. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with someone who might need a little inspiration, and leave a review to let us know what you think. You can also check out the show notes for links to learn more about Cecilia and her amazing work. Until next time, keep exploring your unique strings and discovering the bows they can add to your life. I'm Chloe Weatherhead, and this is Strings to Your Bow. See you soon.